Hello. So you're watching this video either on your mobile device or through a desktop of sorts, right? And you're watching it through the streaming platform of YouTube, as that's what I post on. Now, I'm going to tell you to stop doing that. And what I really need you to do, to really understand, is that you spend too much time on your phone, right? Whether you're mindlessly scrolling, whether you're playing Clash Royale, whether you are gooning, it doesn't matter. The context. Get off the phone. And there's a couple of things that I want to bring to your attention, right? There's my upbringing. And it's peculiar because I'd say I'd consider it a mix of lonely and bored, you could say. But I came very acquainted with boredom. I didn't have like a thing that I could constantly be doing, right? If I'm just like at home, for whatever circumstances that may have caused this, I was unable to do something whenever I wanted to do it, right? There was a friction of sorts. And so this friction left me with just me and no other stimulus. And so I think that with that, I became very introspective because there's, you look at enough walls and ceilings and cutlery and you kind of understand that this is what you have. But you then realize, oh, there's so much more to this reality, as I am a individual who is perceiving this information and the amount of nuance there is in all of those perceptions. My judgments of those perceptions and everything there is basically to communicative psychology through the brain. And so I then eventually picked up a cellular device. And now I have a phone. And so I consume and I consume and I consume. And through this endless consumption, there's something that I realize: I'm not bored. And that scared me because the boredom that I had become so accustomed to, I could not stand. I could not sit with myself for 15 minutes and do nothing. I had to be doing something. And that is what terrified me most. The fact that I needed something. It's this idea of consuming, right? I've always been pretty straight edge in life. And I never wanted something that controlled me. Yeah, I wanted to be in control of myself, always. And then, there's alcohol and weed and all the substances you can take. And of all these substances, the thing that they cost for getting high is a loss of control. And once I realized that I needed stimulus, that I would get antsy if I was just doing nothing, then, well, that's bad. That's control, right? I want to be able to do nothing and not need to do anything else. And you could call it an addiction, because it's something that would cause me a psychological issue. There would be this dissonance in my mind whenever I was doing nothing. And, that is what I seek to avoid. And whenever it came around, I, had this realization that the things that I'm doing in my daily life are causing me to lose control. And obviously, there's going to be people who don't care about that. And I could frame it in a million different ways beyond control, but that's just how I see it, right? But the bottom line is that you spend too much time on your phone. The fact that you have to have your phone on you while you are using the restroom so that you can scroll or goon or play Clash Royale, whatever it is, you can't sit alone and, have your poop think, because that's like fundamental to being human. I'm sure our early ancestors, whenever they went to defecate, they thought, because it takes time and you are alone and, you must think. And that addiction is something that I didn't realize I had until, that realization. And so, unfortunately, this is more than a substance. This is a communication tool. And I use it in order to, do a lot with my life. A lot of things that I wouldn't be able to do otherwise. It's really, really, really fundamental to my existence. And so, with that, I need to start moderating. The moderation of, consumption is the thing that we are all struggling with right now, whether it's food or alcohol or any other substance. Moderation is what we all need to learn. And this phone of mine, I have expressed great hatred for it to many of my peers, as it's something that just absolutely, something I can't quite explain in this moment about the phone. It's the constant existence of it, right? It's always in your life. You can always perceive it. You'll never be away from it for more than, a day or two. Or even such, it'll never be without, it'll always be near you. You'll never go, a building away from it. You're always with your phone. And I suppose it's just another technology, right? Because if you start with your clothes are always on you, they're keeping you warm and portraying different things. They're communicating different things to people based on your style. And that's just a technology, because it's a technology in keeping you warm. It's a technology in communicating with people without talking to them. It's just your presence. And so we have found a way to moderate clothing. It's not that hard, right? The clothing isn't constantly buzzing at you, keeping your attention, trying to keep you within the confines of that technology. But now, we have a phone. And the fact that it's constantly, reaching out, constantly trying to be acknowledged, constantly interrupting you, that is the problem. Because human lives really don't like being interrupted. And so instead of, crap, this will be a long video, so you're going to have to go through a few cycles of me restarting my car and then getting the light back. But bear with me. The fact that the phone is constantly reaching out to you through its buzzing, through its signaling, through its communication, you then have this relationship with your phone, be it good or evil or neutral or whatever. It's a relationship nonetheless. It's a communication between you and your phone. You have a relationship with yourself even. And so there's no real difference between a relationship with you and a relationship with your phone and a relationship with the another person, it's a communication tool. Because you communicate with yourself, you communicate with other people, you communicate with your phone. And unfortunately, your phone communicates with you. And constantly being tapped in to your phone, well, that takes you away from reality. And the human brain really likes to stay within the confines of reality. And I suppose the phone takes you into a different one. And that different reality is a lot worse than outside of it, right? Everything is an echo chamber. Everything is constantly feeding your cognitive bias. Everything about it is to fight against you. But outside of your phone, it simply is reality. It wasn't made by humans to consume humans. Reality just exists. And the reality within your phone is something that you need to get away from. However you do that, I'd recommend that you do it with resolve. Something that I've kind of realized, and this is just an anecdote between me, there's no evidence behind this, but whatever, we don't need evidence nowadays. We only need what we think is right. And what I think is right is that if I ever start something and I don't believe I can do it, I typically don't, right? If I start trying to make music and I think, man, I'm just not a musician, I'm not going to make music. But if I start thinking, man, I really hate my phone so much, I better start not using it. I better start finding routes, finding avenues, finding things that aren't my phone, finding ways to get it away, because it's always with you. You're always tapped in. You can never escape it. And God, that's terrible. How have we built this system that requires you to be within communication always? It's awful. You have no time to yourself. I'll never be able to go back to 11-year-old me and simply be sitting in my room and just thinking, just away from it all. I'm not always trying to be communicated with by 1,000 different things that I don't need to pay attention to. The only thing I need is myself and my loved ones. And we need to start realizing that. This is a call to action, right? Listen, we need to start getting off technology. Not, I guess, it's complicated, right? It's nuanced. We can't all just mass emigrate somewhere else. It's, or I guess out of it. We have to take time and consider, well, we use this technology in order to make a living sometimes, and it's integrated so deeply within our lives that some of the connections we have are through this phone. And whenever you have these connections, you want to keep them around, but in order to do so, you kind of, keep your phone on you. And there's a lot of different applications on your mobile device that are not stringent on your base, what you should be doing, right? They're distractions. So many distractions. And it's all contained within your phone, but within your phone, there is another. There are loved ones. There are people you want to talk to. And so we're always distracted by the things that we don't really need to care about. And we lose sight of what really matters in the phone. We lose sight of the reality that we can call or text anyone that we can get a hold of otherwise, and it's incredible that we're able to talk to anyone at any moment. And communication is very important, but it's mediated. It will always be mediated through the phone. You will never have a conversation like a conversation with another in person if you do it on your phone. it's never going to be that real. You're never going to have that present moment. That context really matters, doesn't it? It really matters. Whenever I am talking to someone in real life, we are both at that time, at that place, communicating. And there is nothing like that. There never will be something like that. No matter how much technology we get, you can't replicate that. I don't want to hear your arguments about how whenever we get zapped all into the mental device of infinite torture or infinite, whatever, the metaverse. I don't care. It's not the same. It's the context that matters, that you are both in that moment, in that present, in that area, within proximity. That is what matters. That is the core of humanity. That there are so many, innumerable amount, but still to the mind, innumerable people on this planet. And we will not be able to completely, fully know everyone's existence. And we are only allowed pieces of people's lives that we already know, but there are still billions out there we don't. And so we need to cherish the lives that we have the ability to touch, to be with in that present moment. And whenever, oh my God, the phone, it's always the phone. Whenever they are there in that moment, but they are with the phone, it shatters it. It shatters that beauty. It's terrible. It's something that eats away at you whenever you see them and they're not within this present moment, but instead in that second reality, they are not with you. You can't engage the same whenever they're distracted. The human brain is, always taking in new information, and then we sleep and we sort through that information, take what's useful, cut the rest out, and repeat the cycle. And that's, how we learn. And whenever we're constantly being berated with so much information that we don't really care about, nor need, nor really have to do anything with, well, a lot of that is pruned out. And unfortunately, if it's all you're consuming, some of it might stick around, which is not ideal. But that pruning takes so much energy whenever it's massive amounts, right? Eventually, the brain starts creating systems so that it doesn't have to prune that much. So it starts automatically blocking signals that it doesn't need. Unfortunately, this automatic blocker is not perfect. It's from the human mind, which is not perfect. And it comes from that constant information loop that we are in. That loop creates this barrier that is stronger than usual. This creation that we make for ourselves in order to block out the information we don't need also blocks out the information that is vitally useful for us. And sometimes it starts blocking out things that we really need. Sometimes it loses that human connection. And sometimes whenever you are mindlessly scrolling and you're blocking out a lot of information, you're blocking out other things like the people you need in your life. Because life is all about people. It's always what it's going to be. It's always how it's been. It's always what it will be. It's always what it is right now. It's the people. And whenever I've blocked out the people in my life and I lose those connections, or they start fraying and I have to frantically repair them, it's something that we lose because, after all, we're stuck. We're stuck to the phone. We're stuck to, how it is. We're stuck with that reality, that second reality, and we lose that first reality. And oh my God, the things that I've seen it do to people, the people that are growing up nowadays who don't know that feeling of comfort whenever you are just with yourself and only yourself, And you get to realize the moment you have with these people are the most precious things we can hold on to. It's destroying lives. It's more of an epidemic than, like, we have this loneliness epidemic caused by the phones, right? We all know this. It is the most destructive thing I have ever seen. It is there's three forms of control. You have this control that is really engaged. You're on the ball, whether it's this external sort of control. And it only happens whenever you are there and you are to control it. Then there's this second form of control where it starts being something that the individual does. That the individual is like, okay, I'm kind of afraid that this form of control is going to hurt me, so, well, I'm going to go ahead and just be controlled. And now, the third form of control, where it is so deeply ingrained in the human brain that it no longer thinks that it's control. And that's where we're at. That's where we're at with technology. People are getting controlled by this so deeply that they don't know anything else. They don't know the beauty of being human. They only know the phone, the computer, the gooning, the Clash Royale, the Fortnite. It's all consuming. It's taking over their entire life. I've seen it in so many people, and I see it in creation, in all the stages. And it's mortifying. And I hate it. And I absolutely want to get rid of it. I want to destroy it. I don't know how. I don't know when. And I don't even know if. But that is the most terrifying thing I have ever seen, is the way technology will consume people. And I'm not saying technology in the sense that the phone itself is bad, but in the sense that it has been wrapped around this controlling mindset of consuming and consuming and consuming. And that's all that happens. And whenever you are at this final stage of consumption where it is completely internalized and all you know is that, you lose all human connection, you just lose everything. I don't know what kind of reality they live in. I don't know how their brain operates. I don't know how they feel. Because you can't communicate with them. Because they are so lost. It's terrible. And so, we need moderation. We need systems, integrated systems that are within the device themselves to stop us from consuming so much. We need a culture. We need a culture that will fight against this synthesis with the phone. I don't want to have this relationship with my phone. I want to have this relationship with the people I love in my life. Because I am always with my phone. And I hate it. Allow me a moment to recollect myself. This is the point I'm trying to get across. This is what I'm trying to illustrate for the viewer. You need to know your priorities, your values, what you should really be doing. And the path of least resistance, the one we are always on, is what we need to fight against, right? Nothing good comes out of that path. But that path has dropped deeper and deeper into creations of hell I cannot fathom. And it's so easy to slip into it. It is so easy to just fall down this pit and never come back. To become one with the hell that we created is terrifying. I warn you, if you see this happening in your life, to someone you love, to yourself, please help them. And you might wonder, how? How do I help someone? How do I get them out of this pit? And it takes the realization of boredom. To be bored, to be with yourself, to allow yourself no stimulus. Whether it's through meditation, through just doing nothing, it's what we need. It's something we've lost. It is a lost art. Boredom is beautiful, and we no longer engage with it because, well, there's so many other novelties to try. But boredom will always be with us. It's something innately human. It's something we always have. It's something we must use, because boredom is what taught me so many things. It's what taught me what is the most important thing in my life. It's the people. It's what taught me that there's so much to this reality. And whenever I see people slipping away and I do nothing about it, that crushes me. It's something I'll probably deeply regret any time that I didn't stand up for them, to really engage with them and try and help them understand that this is addiction, that this is consuming you, and that it's destroying what you hold dear. It's just little by little. You put the frog in the water, and you turn the water up slowly. You turn the heat of the water up slowly. It's the boiling frog. And everyone is slowly being boiled. And we have to make them realize that you don't want to be boiling. Don't let them be boiled. I don't know how you're going to do it, my dear viewer, but please help them. Please. For their sake, for your sake, for my sake, for the world's sake, for their enjoyment of reality. Let them enjoy reality through boredom. And through that boredom, they will find what is so deeply human. They will find people, and once they find people, they might just be okay. Anyways, toodles.